What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Recruiting Ain't Easy podcast. Hell yeah, I'm your host, Louis Swartz here on Team Swartz. And if you're looking to join the U.S. Army overall or get ready for Army basic training, I got you. My mission here on Team Swartz is to help you navigate the joining process for the United States Army so that you can make a well-informed decision on whether or not it would be a good fit for you, for your reasons and your reasons alone, and prepare yourselves both mentally and physically for Army basic training by understanding what to expect, some insights to help mitigate some possible concerns that you may have for you and your family. However, real quick disclaimer is that by day, yes, my full-time job is a New York Army National Guard recruiter in New York City and a part-time drill sergeant with our recruit sustainment program, conveniently located, obviously, in New York City. But with that being said, on my free time, I create videos around the enlistment process and basic training. I represent myself, Louis, and this is my personal page, okay? And sorry, let me turn this down a little bit. And at no time, where was I? So anything I express here and within my videos are based on that of my own experiences, opinions, views, insights, and of that of others, which means that this is in all intents and purposes, my personal page. It's not endorsed or sponsored by DOD, the United States Army, the Army National Guard, the Reserve, or any other government entity for that matter. So if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon, and most importantly, turning on all notifications so you don't miss anything, especially when I go live like now. So comment in the chat box. If you're new here, let me know which state you are tuning in from. And if you're one of my loyal Team Swartz squad members, you already know what to do. Drop that hashtag Team Swartz down below. All right, so for you new folks, all right, tuning in, please refrain from repeating your questions or comments because I do not and will not skip any questions or comments, or at least not on purpose. You know, I'm human. I may make a mistake, but just do your best, okay? And all right, good. That was distracting me. So I go down the comments, working my way from the oldest comments, working my way up to the latest and greatest comments. So the only exceptions to this rule is if I receive a paid super chat or tip. So after I finalize my latest response to the current comment, I will highlight the said super chat and immediately respond to them in its entirety. All right. After finalizing that response, and then I'll return to the last comment that I left off and go again from the oldest, working my way up to the latest and greatest. All right. Furthermore, keeping the comments clean and respectful, or you will be put on timeout or blocked. All right. This is not a negative channel. Everything here is positivity. All right. My goal is, like I said, to help you. All right. So with that in place, do me a favor. If you're asking me a question, please put a Q beforehand because that lets me know it's a question for me, because there are some sidebar conversations that happen in the chat box. And just to help, keep things going smoothly, just put a Q in front of your question. All right. And all right. So just help speed up the whole process. And with that said, let's get started with the show. All right. So let me know if the music is too loud or my audio needs to be a little bit better. Let me get myself a little bit more situated here. All right. So let me bring this onto the screen. It's going to mess it up. All right. I'm going to have to keep it over here. I forgot to put this in dark mode. For some reason, my dark mode is not working. Dang it. I knew I forgot something. It was going too smooth. It was going too smooth. I downloaded a plugin, and it's supposed to make it in dark mode. I know, you saw the reflection. You saw the reflection. Yeah, Christopher Chaos, man. You guys definitely have to go check out his channel. I just realized he's in the chat box, along with my boy South Jersey Artisan, my graphics designer and a fellow former recruiter an awesome NCO. Oh man, I can't remember how I did it. Man, I knew I forgot something. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Dang it. Yeah. No bueno. That sucks. That royally sucks. I know I have the plugin. I think I figured it out. Nope, guess not. Hang on, let me refresh. All right, put myself in dark mode, so now I can read the chats up here, but I am gonna have to move closer because your boy messed up. Alrighty. All right, so this way it could be more intimate, me actually looking at the camera. You know what I mean? We need to do a stream together, either on your channel or mine. I'm down for both. Hell yeah, I'm totally down. I'm trying. Erica Burney agreed to do one with me, but she hasn't moved into her new house yet. Like, she's already started recruiting, and her house, I think, recently closed. So when she gets settled in, we're gonna be doing the live stream together. I say both too. Hell yeah. And we can make that happen sooner versus later. But let me scroll up to the top because that's how I roll. Let me put my phone over here. Let me see if that's in screen. Yeah, it's in screen. I have to do better in preparing for these things. All right, so moving right along to Luis Rodriguez with the hashtag Team SWARTZ of the evening. Says, what's up, Sergeant First Class? Hope all is well. Question, if you don't have a passport, can you still volunteer for deployment? Also, how often are deployments available for 11 Bravo and 31 Bravo? Still working on the wait a bit more to go, and I want to be in shape before I ship out. I agree. That would be ideal. Not necessary, but ideal. So first things first. No, you do not need a passport to, not a normal passport, although your unit will make you get a passport. But with that being said, not required, because they'll give you a red one. You get a military version for deployment. And let's see, as far as deployments go, yeah, it could happen within the state or across the country. So I'm going to put into the chat box my video that will show you well, you won't be able to access the link, but you'll know more about it. So basically, there's a website called Tour of Duty. And if you want to deploy within your state or across the country in other states or units that want your MOS or your rank, then you can volunteer for those deployments. And that's not hard or challenging or difficult at all. Saeed Abdullah says, greetings, kid. Wants to join, but when he was little, a doctor thought he had a slight case of scoliosis. It turns out it was inconclusive. Would he still need a waiver? Thanks. So the MEPS doctor is going to see if it's visibly close to 10% or not. And as long as it's under 10% or 10 degrees, I think it is, not 10%, 10 degrees. If it's under 10 degrees, then you should be fine. And a waiver will get approved. But yeah, if it's in his record, he's probably going to need a medical record, and he's definitely going to do the medical exam and expect to get disqualified pending a ortho consultation. And based on that consultation, they'll dictate what degree his scoliosis is, and as long as it's at or below 10%, 10 degrees, then the waiver should get approved. No problems. That's an easy waiver to get, as long as it's under 10 degrees. Ripper says, how does the ASVAB training program work? Do you have to sign the contract before going and learning, then test and picking a career? So yes, that's one of the, so that is, so you're talking and referring to, so those who don't know what he or she's asking me about is the 09 Mike program. The code is 09 Mike, but the name of the course is called the Future Soldier Preparatory Course. And one has up to 90 days to get within the allowable body fat standards of no more than 2% over their maximum allowable body fat by the time they complete the program, because they're able to join as long as they're no more than 6% over. And for those who need the academic track to improve your test scores for the ASVAB, then yeah, you'll be testing one retest within 3 weeks after you getting there. And they have over a 98% graduation rate. And yes, you will be giving a handful of options, and you're going to have to choose one of those. If you don't like those, then you can get processed out and discharged. And to answer your question, yes, you do have to sign a contract. This is the first time ever that I can recall being a recruiter for the Army in the last 19 plus years that they have a option that is an open contract. So basically, you're signing a contract, you're agreeing to go to training, and at the end of that training, you're agreeing to choose one of those jobs. So it's always going to be based on the needs of the Army. So you might have to settle for something a little less exciting, but something still worthwhile to do for the next 3+ years to be able to make it happen. And then at the time that your contract is nearing, once you're under your 365-day window of negotiating your new possible re-enlistment or new extension, then you can negotiate reclassing to a new MOS. And a lot of people will end up doing this option regardless if they're doing this program or not, just because if you're not a U.S. citizen, let's say you're a green card holder and you don't have U.S. citizenship, by getting citizenship is going to open up the floodgates and you're going to qualify for a lot more opportunities and jobs. But with that being said, yes, that is the risk that you're taking by going through the program and not being offered the job of choice. So my suggestion to you is in my video here, which I'll post if you haven't seen my video. All right. It's also linked down below in the chat box as well. But yeah, I say still go for it. Now, if you're going Guard or Reserve, it's not as bad as you may think because you're only doing it part-time. If you're going active duty, then getting a job that you feel like you're going to enjoy for the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, whatever you're doing for active duty, then I think doing it full-time is more important to get a job of choice. If you're going Guard or Reserve, it's not as bad because you're only doing it literally 1 weekend per month. All right. And 2 weeks out of the year. But the video will go into more detail. But good question. What's up, Yasir? Yes, we are live. Draven says, do you get to keep your job after basic and AIT? I'm not understanding the question. What? Oh, civilian job. Okay. Yeah, I saw your follow-up statement. All right. So yeah, you are federally protected by law, right? From the USERA Act, right? So your state Department of Labor laws will mirror the federal law. And if you go to www.esgr.mil, that is the official link for the employer of the support, employer support for the Guard and Reserve, I believe is the name of their company. But they will spell out the employers and the employees' rights to employment. So they, by law, have to keep your job for a maximum of 5 years. It could be longer than that, depending on the company, but 5 years at minimum. And they have to accept you back. Worst case scenario, they can make you go through the hiring process. But at the end of the day, they have to accept you back at the same pay rate, if not more, with the same job or similar responsibilities, with same pay, same job, or similar responsibilities. And if you're in a technical skill or need like refresher training to get yourself back on par to where you were before you left, then the company is also responsible for getting you back up to speed with refresher or retraining if needed, or if you request it. All right. And again, that spells out the employers and the employees, right? So make sure you follow that to the T to be able to be protected. All right. But that website will go over some more. We got another hashtag Team Swartz from Yes Here. Appreciate you. David says, hope all is well. Do you ever think of the 09 Make program will be available for prior service? No, unfortunately. First of all, we're lucky non-prior service is able to use this, honestly, between you and me. But yeah, I don't think it will ever open up for the prior service. Academic? No, the reason, all right, let me backpedal, because I do have some thoughts and suggestions if Big Army is listening to me. And just also to inform you, right? As a prior service individual, you do not have to pass the ASVAB test. You just have to have the line scores required for the MOS or opportunity you're trying to join for in any component of the Army, right? So only for initial enlistment do you have to pass the ASVAB scoring at 31 or better, or 21 and above to qualify for the all-new 09 Mike program. So with that said, as a prior service individual, after you sign your contract, complete initial training, and you become MOS qualified, from that point forward, you're considered prior service. So again, when you go to retest on the ASVAB for any reason, you don't have to worry about scoring a 31 or better. You have to get the line score that's required for the job or opportunity. So hopefully that makes sense. So the 09 Mike program wouldn't make sense for you, because honestly, your skill set should be far greater by the time you go to retest. But anyway, now going back to the other portion, which is the body fat composition part of the 09 Mike program. I would like to see that open up to prior service, because those who get out of service, a lot of them blow up like balloons. All right. And I hope to God that I'm not one of them. But with that being said, I would like to see the 09 Mike program for the body fat composition only open to prior service. But I guess the idea behind it is that if you're prior service, you should be well disciplined enough to maintain your height and weight when you're as a regular civilian post military career. But those are just my 2 cents and my thoughts on the whole matter. But hopefully that makes sense. Percy says, happy to be here. That's what I said. Hashtag Team Swartz coming in from Justin Villano. Appreciate you. All right. We got Christopher Chaos in the house. Like I said before, if you guys don't know him, he's another Army content creator here on YouTube. Killing it. Having a good old time. I see him doing some great things this year, spicing things up with some equipment and some other things. So he's going to do very, very good this year, I'm sure. We got Noble here with the hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you. And to answer your question, because I didn't see it earlier, yes, I'm using the teleprompter. And you noticed the reflection earlier as we previously described. But yeah, I fixed it. I used the plugin to go into dark mode on Chrome browser. And it works amazing. It makes it a little more challenging, because normally when I click on a comment on StreamYard, the platform I use to stream, I can see who I'm talking to. With the dark mode, it takes that ability away. So I can't see if it's highlighted. So I have to look at my cell phone to see if it's on the screen. But either way, nice. Looks like it. LOL. All right. Not sure what that's for. And we got Colorado from Christopher Chaos. Corinne Bateman says, I love your channel. Thanks for what you do. I appreciate the support and the feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I plan on getting a lot busier this year on the channel, so hopefully we'll see some growth and hit that 100K by the end of the year. We got Wakey Smith. Can you lose your job if you're not doing your job? Like, I'm gonna try to pay attention to my phone. Oh, I just realized I got a super chat. I'll get to that in a second. If you're talking about civilian wise, no, you're not going to lose your job. And if you're in the Army and you're not doing your job, eventually, if there's enough of a paper trail, you can get discharged however they seem fit. But you don't get fired for not doing your job. You're going to get counseled and rehabilitated and coached and mentored and disciplined until you do what you're supposed to do. Hopefully that makes sense. And that was for Wakey Smith. So I'll come back to Chris in a second because I got a super chat I got to go address real quick. We got Al with the super chat. Thank you very much, man. It says aloha. Appreciate you tuning in from Hawaii. CW2 Castro here. Just saying hi. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you, Chief. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hell yeah. Sorry for the delay. All right. So Chris finally got here, and longtime listener, first time chatter. That's what I'm talking about. Well, thank you for chatting with me for the very first time, and I always appreciate you tuning in. So we got Prestige here. Nice to see you, Mr. That's not for me. Hashtag Team Swartz coming in from my guy, South Jersey Artisan, my graphic designer, as always, digitally from New Jersey. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Got Alabama in the house coming in from Chris. Dollar Bless says, went to MEPS, passed every test, but the doctor wanted to take some time to go through my medical records and get back to me. How long do you think that will take? Oh man, that's such a loaded question. I got so much to say and I have to hold my tongue. I'll give you the PG-13 version. Let me say this carefully, because last time I got in trouble. Let's just say MEPS is a hot mess, and it's taking like several weeks to over a month to action simple things, and it's so irritating. Super irritating. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to get in trouble. Banana Man says, what's the physical portion going to be like at MEPS? I've heard conflicting reports on how they do things and what happens. All right, Banana Man, I got a video just for you. Now, in this video, it was recorded towards the tail end of this thing called Emerald. Emerald is dead, has since been replaced with Genesis. So ignore the Emerald reference in that video, but I walk through the MEPS process and I sprinkle in some tips and tricks for each section. Excuse me. Woo. Came out of nowhere. My bad. Your fault. Excuse me. My apologies. But with that being said, yeah, check out that video. It's also linked down below. You can check it out later if you want, or open up in another window and go back to it later. But Rodriguez says, if you take blood pressure medication, you can't join, right? Correct. And I would probably say it's safe to say that you're going to have to be at least off of medication and stable for at least 6 months. And on like a monthly basis, I would go and get like blood pressure readings to show consistency of stability before you'll even be entertained to join. And of course, your your medical records and your current medical status will determine whether or not you're going to be able to get into MEPS for medical exam and even pass medical. All right. You're definitely going to need a waiver for sure. Amado Morales says, hello, hope everything is well. If you go to the Future Soldier program after you finish and then go to boot camp, do you go to reception then before the Future Soldier program? Hashtag Team Swartz. If I understand you correctly, and just so you are aware, before you get to the 09 Mike program, because I think that's what you're referring to, yes, you will go through the reception battalion. And if you go to another location, more than likely from my experience with my soldiers, if you go to a different training site, then you will go through reception again. But if you're in the same location, then sometimes it's like 50-50. Sometimes you go straight to the training site. Sometimes you go through reception a second time around. But one of my soldiers went straight to basic training, didn't go through reception a second time. So I guess it depends on if it's at Fort Jackson or Fort Benning. All right. Matthew says, shipping out Monday, does reception count as part of the 10 weeks? You wish, but no, it's its own separate event. So it has nothing to do with the 10 weeks of basic training. It sucks. It's true, but consider it character development. Yes, the prompter makes it very, very easy to look into your eyes. All right, so we got Joe says, is infantry OSET still 22 weeks? Yes. Have not seen anything shorter yet. Also, can you get a Rep 63 or 18X with a medical waiver? Honestly, I don't know because I don't recruit for Special Forces or Rep 63 in my state because we don't have any Special Forces units or airborne battalions. But if it's something minor, then probably, but I'd have to look into it and let you know. One of these days, I'm going to be bringing in a Special Forces recruiter, and I think that would be the easiest method to debunk some of these questions. Bell says, what does ship out day look like specifically when shipping from Fort Hamilton to Fort Jackson? It is by bus, commercial flight, or what should I expect? All right, Bell, that's an easy question. And I'm glad you asked that because I don't normally get that. But depending on where you are in the country, you'll either ship directly out of MEPS like you will, or what other people will if they're in a state where like MEPS is like an insane amount of distance away. And it just makes more sense to direct ship to your training. That's what it's called, direct ship. So your recruiter will make sure that you have everything that you need to be able to ship, meaning go to your bus station, train, or plane to get to your final destination. But for your example, you will ship out of MEPS. So you will report to the hotel the night prior. You'll be bused to MEPS in the morning. You'll make sure that everything's good to go. If you're a female, you will receive a pregnancy test. Other than that, they don't do height and weight anymore. And there's nothing else other than just asking the question, has anything changed since you first joined? And then at some point before 8 o'clock in the morning, typically, you'll sit down with your guidance counselor, make sure that your shipper's pack is good to go. And then after that, at some point in the morning, MEPS will bring you in and give you a briefing, what they need to share with you. And then from there, sometime between late morning and early afternoon, you will either board a bus or a van, like a 15-passenger van, and you will go to the airports, either Newark, LaGuardia, or JFK, and you will fly to near Fort Jackson. I can't remember the airport name, but it's in Jackson, in that area. And then from there, you'll go to the USO or wherever they direct you, but it's usually the USO. And once they get enough people to fill up the bus, you'll get on the bus and you will go to the reception battalion, where immediately once you get off the bus, you will begin in processing and begin your reception process. And understand that night you get there, you're not getting any sleep. You'll be lucky to get 1 or 2 hours of sleep if you're lucky. If not, straight through in processing till the next day, and you will not see a bed or put your head on a pillow until the next day at night. So make sure that night at the hotel, don't stay up and do dumb things. Just get some sleep, get some rest. You're going to need it. And sleep on the plane, sleep every time that you possibly can. That makes sense. It's safe, obviously. And then get to your final destination. That's how it works if you're shipping out of Fort Hamilton. Christopher Chaos, what is the oldest person you got to join the Army? Personally, 42 years old, but we're talking over a decade ago for that. But we just had a waiver class from the Waiver Authority for the National Guard Bureau, and they said the highest waiver that they approved was for a 57-year-old, and I can't remember if that was prior service or non-prior service, but they did recently enlist a 47-year-old non-prior service individual who's never served. And if there is a potential applicant who is above the age of 42, meaning 42 years old or older, that if you do join, you will understand and sign a statement basically somewhere in your contract that you understand that you are joining to serve and you're not going to earn a retirement through traditional means. So as of right now, the only authorized retirement plan is the blended retirement system. So you're not going to get a normal retirement. So whatever you do invest, the Army will match until you're out, kind of like the 401k, and then you can transfer it through like the I'm having a bald moment here, going into a blonde moment. Thrift savings plan, right? It's kind of like that. But you're not going to do 20 years for retirement purposes. So you'll do however many years you're in, but you're not going to get a retirement. So whatever you do contribute through the thrift savings plan or equivalent, you can transfer that to a 401k or Roth IRA or something like that when you get out, and you could drive on from there. But yeah, so up to 42, 42nd birthday, no problems really. So if you do come in at 42 years old, well, on or before your 42nd birthday, then you can join and get 20 good years for retirement purposes. Okay. But that's for those who are listening. All right. So we got Mr. Fusion. I've been hearing that the Army is trying to get rid of the MPs, aka the law enforcement side, not the field side. Is this true? That's the first I ever heard of that. But I cannot see them getting rid of the law because active duty, they enforce UCMJ on military installations. I could see that possibly happening for the National Guard, but I can't see them getting rid of it. I honestly can't see that happening. I want to say that's fake news. Craig Machine. All right. So, oh, I lost it. It's not even here anymore. I was going to share a page, but yeah. So if you just Google MOS 12B, click on the goarmy.com website or the nationalguard.com website, and it will tell you how long your training is. There, I taught you how to fish so you can feed yourself. All right. So we got Bell with another question. It says, what awards or medals are achievable during basic training, and what's the benefit of getting them? The best bet that you could get is probably an AM, an Army Achievement Medal, and that's it usually for the Distinguished Honor Graduate and maybe Honor Graduate. Other than that, you're probably not going to get any other medals or awards while you're there. As far as like actual awards that like accumulate points, you'll get like certificates of achievement and recognition, things like that for like leadership award, Iron Soldier, who scores the highest on ACFT, so on and so forth. But it's usually the Distinguished Honor Graduate that gets the Army Achievement Medal, and it's just promotion points and an extra ribbon that you could put on your dress uniform. Giuseppe De Rosa with the hashtag Team Swords. Appreciate you. Here to show some love. That's what I'm talking about. Amber Patterson says, I was correction officer for whatever that acronym stands for and got college credits. Would I go in as an E1 or E2? So being a corrections officer doesn't do anything for you. But for those who are curious, 24 or more college credits will allow you to join as a private E2. If you have 48 or more college credits or a 2-year degree, you'll come in as a private first class E3. And if you have earned your 4-year degree or higher, then you'll join as a specialist E4. Here you have it. All right, so we got Cosmicus says or asks, what career opportunities would be available for me after I get out? I am currently going through the enlistment process and I will be selecting 25B MOS. All right, so 25B is Information Technology Specialist for those who don't know. And if you go to Google and you type in 25B MOS space 25B, and again, click on nationalguard.com or goarmy.com, towards the bottom of the page, it'll say like possible civilian careers based on this MOS. Those are the possibilities that you'll have. Furthermore, at time of enlistment, your guidance counselor should be asking you to pick up to 5 civilian companies that you would like to interview at or for future employment. This is huge. All right. So what this does is, so based on the MOS that you're joining for, through the PAYS program, PAYS, I'll be doing a video on this at some point this year. Basically, it guarantees you 5 interviews with 5 different companies that are relating to your MOS. It does not guarantee employment with the company, but it guarantees you an interview. It gives you a foot in the door. And then obviously you have to prepare for that interview and sell yourself. But it provides an opportunity and potential for future employment while you're serving part-time in the Guard Reserve or post-Army career. All right. So there's that as well. This person says, if I got airborne in my contract, but going into the Army as an 11 Bravo, would I get sent to airborne unit? It's possible, but it's up to the Army. Now, if you're going Guard, you already know where you're going to be stationed. But if you're going active duty, then you won't know where you're going to be until like the middle of your training. All right. But it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be going to airborne unit. It should, I don't want to say it's expected, but it's a good probability if you pass airborne. But if South Jersey Artisan is here, he can chime in because he's active duty. We don't have any airborne slots or units in my state, in the New York Army National Guard. Joe says, thank you for all that you do. Currently processing at 39 years old. Just waiting for the date with MEPS for my medical. Yeah, man. MEPS is a whole nother level lately. Definitely getting underneath my skin for sure. But good luck, and may the MEPS gods forever be in your favor for sure. Step says, if I have air... Oh, we already talked about that. Bell says, what are the best hacks for basic training? My best hacks, honestly, are in this video. How to prepare for basic training. Those are my best hacks right there. I will get you ready for sure. Orlando says, come back home from Fort Moore, OSA at 19 Delta about a month ago. I'm National Guard. Everything that you've talked about in shipping basic has helped a lot. And when I was training, it made things a lot easier. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. That's what, oh man, I love feedback like that. Thank you. Appreciate it. But that was all you. You're the one that passed everything and put in the work. So congratulations to you. Good luck in the next chapter of your Army career. And sorry, I should just put it on a tripod next time for sure. I think I'm definitely going to do that. In theory, I thought that arm was going to be a good idea, but it's not working out for me. All right, so VARPXS says, can you do ROTC if you go into community college and then transfer into a 4-year uni? I'm not sure. Oh, university probably. It doesn't matter if you're in a community college, a state university, or a private college. Anyone can do ROTC. What do platoon leaders do at basic training, and how do you become one? So in basic training, I think what you mean is platoon guide, unless they've changed the name. But the platoon guide in basic training or in AIT or OSUT is the person that is basically in the position of the drill sergeant within the platoon. So you got squad leaders and team leaders, and then the rest of your squad. And there are 4 squads to a platoon. There's one person in charge of the platoon, which is the platoon guide. The platoon guide talks to the platoon, the student first sergeant and the drill sergeants. So usually the platoon guides to each company will come up to the student first sergeant, or each platoon rather. So the platoon guides for each platoon will come up to the platoon first sergeant and receive the blocks of instruction from the drill sergeant, okay? And the student first sergeant. So they disseminate the information. Drill sergeant, student first, to the platoon sergeants, to the team leaders, and the squad leaders. And that's how the information goes. And you can volunteer for it. You might It might be randomly selected when you first get there during the first 15 minutes or so of the in processing at basic training. So after you go through like blocks of instruction and everything, they're going to assign everybody once you get to the barracks. You can volunteer yourself then, depending on how your drill sergeants do it, or you'll be voluntold in the beginning. But at some point, you can definitely volunteer for it for sure. If you do good, they'll probably keep you there. But if you mess up, they'll replace you in a heartbeat. All right, so we got this person that says hello, hello, hello. Elijah says, U.S. citizen from the Philippines joining the Guam recruiting office. What happens if I don't have a driver's license coming in? I only got a motorcycle driver's license here in Manila. Shout out to Staff Sergeant. I'm going to say Malachi, but that looks like Miklat. All right, here we go. Staff Sergeant Miklat. All right, cool. So, with that being said, no, it is not required that you have a driver's license, but if you're going active duty, it's a really, really good idea to have one, just because at some point, you're probably going to get your own car to get around base. They do have buses and stuff like that, but it's very minimal. But yeah, make friends and definitely work on getting your driver's license. But again, it's not required to join, but it's nice to have. Bella also asked, what do you really need from basic training list to pack? That's posted on the Army website. 5 copies. No, do not bring 5 copies of anything. This is what you're going to need to bring. I got you. Say less, fam. Basic training packing list right there. The best on YouTube. Go check out that video. You can go into the description area. You can skip to the parts of the video that you're more interested in. But watch the introduction in the beginning, and then you can jump through the video if you want. If not, just use the list that's in the description area, and that you don't have to watch the entire video, although that's what I would prefer you to do. But anyway, that's the list. There's like the minimum list, recommended list, and then optional items that you could bring with you. But heed the warning in the introduction and all that good stuff. It's a general video, so it's a general video that may or may not work for each location of the training site, because they all have their unique quirks and SOPs, standard operating procedures. So, but the video will make sense when you listen to it. But it's funny because like people won't even watch it who are prior service or recently graduated, and they'll chime in their 2 cents. And it's like, bro, did you even like watch the video? Like, yes, I said that. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I digress. Rogue says further, hang on. Rogue Play says further. I think I may have missed a comment, but this is the first. That's why it threw me off. Question. Further to the suicidal ideation and depression for reenlistment, a MEPS psychiatric diagnosed me with emotional dependency, mostly in reference to my dad, advice to fix myself. All right. So when it comes to medical waivers and depression and psych type stuff, all my insight, tips, and tricks are in this video right here, coming into the chat box, and it should be linked down below in the description area. All right. But if you have specific personal stuff that you want to share with me to understand your situation, then you can always direct message me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ, and we could take it from there. But definitely watch that video first before asking me any questions. All right, because I go through a lot of stuff, and one of the main reasons I create a lot of these videos too is so I don't have to repeat myself via text all the time. It's just easier to send a link so they can get all the information and then some, and probably bring up things that they weren't thinking of. They're like, oh wow, that's actually pretty good. Anywho, moving right along to Bell with is the PAYS program a suitable option for older enlisted E4s with previous work experience? It doesn't matter if you are an older person that's well experienced or an inexperienced brand new person coming in at 17, 18, right out of high school with no experience. So the PAYS program is for anyone who wants to use it. It doesn't mean that you have to use it. It's putting it in writing so that when you get out of training or out of the Army, or get out of training if you're in the Guard or Reserve, or when you leave active duty at some point, you're locked in, guaranteed interview with those 5 companies. Whether or not you execute that list is up to you, but in the paperwork, the addendum, it'll tell you who you need to where you need to reach out to and contact to exercise that ability. All right. But from my understanding, it's pretty good. It's pretty decent. Obviously, you still have to prepare for it. It's all on you and interview. But yeah. All right. So Erie Jason says, can reserve be a stepping stone to start a career? If yes, how would that help you if you only have 2 days out of the month? All right. So I could look at it in one of two ways, right? Because if you're here, confirm while I'm explaining this, because it would just make it so much faster for me to respond. But and for future reference during the stream, if let me know if you're going active duty, guard, or reserve. It just makes it easier and faster for me to respond. But in this case, I don't know if you mean like as a civilian or a stepping stone to go from like guard or reserve to active duty, like that career. So I'll give you both scenarios. Yes, in my opinion, how do I say this without making it sound biased? Because I know that this is going to sound biased because obviously I'm a recruiter. But understand that I'm not your recruiter. So what I'm about to share with you, I hope that it resonates with you and you understand where I'm coming from when I say this. So joining the military full-time is a serious commitment that you need to weigh out your options. And I'm not saying that going active duty, full-time regular Army in by any means a bad thing. It could prove to be a bad decision for you under your circumstances, depending on how all the different variables may work in your life. But the angle that I'm trying to convey to you is active duty is a real, in my opinion, serious commitment. Like the reason why I say is, and I'll post this in the chat box because this will go into more detail, but I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes, maybe show my age with Cliff Notes. But this is my active duty versus guard or reserve video. But the gist of the video is this here. Going active duty is a full-time commitment. Unlike a civilian job, you do not have the ability, if you don't like it, like you do not have the ability to be like, whoa, this ain't for me. Yo, guys, I made a mistake. Like, this is not for me. I'm not liking it here. I don't want to be here. Deuces, everybody. I quit. I'm out. See you later. Cannot do that. All right. When you go regular Army, you're locked in for that contract for however long that you signed up for. All right. You can always upgrade from guard or reserve to regular Army full-time with an approved conditional release. And I'll post a video about that so you can look at that as well so you can be informed, okay? But with that being said, if you go reserve or guard, get the same exact training at the same locations, you test the waters, see if you like it, and if you taste it and you like it, you can put in your request to be conditionally released from the guard or reserve if and when that is approved, right? Because there's no guarantee that they'll approve it, but if they do, you take that document and you take that to a regular Army active duty recruiter or any branch of service that's willing to accept you with that form. Then you go active duty, right? I mean, there's still a possibility you may not like it, but at least you're not going to say you don't like the military because you tested it, right? But again, if you don't like active duty, there's no way to back out of it. Like, you're in there like swimwear. That's it. It's a done deal. You cannot go back to reserve or guard until you're at the end of your current contract on regular Army active duty contract. But again, you can upgrade from part-time to full-time, but you cannot downgrade from active duty regular Army to part-time in the guard or reserve. Now, with that being said, if you meant as a civilian, what I mean by that is, yes, it can be a stepping stone to get you to the area or career of choice. So whether you are pursuing a trade school or a college degree in a specific field, and this is where like my recruiter hat comes in. And if you're in college and you're a younger person, you could look at it one of two ways. You can try to find an MOS, your military occupation specialty, the job skill you sign up for to do in the military. If you can possibly marry that with an MOS, like what your major is, your intent of education to an MOS, now you're getting paid training and experience to put on your resume in the field of choice. And that way in the future, not only do you have civilian education in that field, but you also have paid training and experience for X amount of years, full-time or part-time in the military, to add onto your resume, separating you from the rest of the competition. So for example, let's say you get a degree in, I'm having a bald moment here. Let's say cybersecurity, right? We'll go big and go hard. So let's say you got a cyber degree and you go in the Army as a 17 Charlie cyber specialist or whatever it's called, right? Cybersecurity specialist. So now, not only do you have military paid training, both on the civilian and military side, because you're going to get like A+ and all these other credentials that are free to you that you're earning. So you're going to get like a whole bunch of civilian certifications in various things within the cyber world. And on top of that, you're going to have a top secret clearance that generally costs plus or minus $10,000. So now you have your civilian degree in cybersecurity, you have military education in cybersecurity, and you have work experience for however many years that you're in the service or up until that point or at all, right? And you're applying for a civilian job as a cybersecurity person on the civilian side. And let's say you and Johnny Snotnose, like I'm interviewing both of you. Johnny Snotnose has the same degree, we'll say the same grades as you, but no work experience in the field, and does not have a top secret clearance unless they pay it out of pocket ahead of time to knock that out. But you, right off the bat, right off the rip, I know that I'm going to save about $10,000 on a top secret clearance. You're pre-qualified. You've already been vetted by the United States government. Like you already have your top secret clearance. And on top of that, you have at least 3 to 5 different credentials that you already have that I don't have to help Johnny Snotnose over here get and pay for out of pocket probably, and pay him to get him or her to get those credentials. And then again, pays $10,000 roughly to get that top secret clearance. So that is how you get the competitive edge and leverage the Guard Reserve as a stepping stone to get you into that civilian sector. Now, I'll also throw in there that sometimes when joining the military, you might want to do something different than what you're studying in college to expand upon your skill set to make you a more valuable employee, or just have real world, not real world, but like skills that the military is going to instill in you that you can use in a real world. So let's say you want to become a light wheel vehicle mechanic or an electrician or a plumber or something like that. But let's say you're studying something else so that you could pursue that degree, right? Let's say you want to get a criminal justice degree to become a police officer, but you go and join the Guard Reserve to be a plumber, electrician, a mechanic, information technology specialist, a human resource specialist, whatever. Those are all skill sets that you can use for personal things or outside of the Army or your civilian career, or maybe even a side hustle, right? It's all about finding out what your goals are, what your aspirations are, knowing what your deal breakers are, and what's important to you, and picking the best path for your reasons based on your interests, your hobbies, where you want to go, where you want to end up, and what you want out of life. And that's your recruiter's job to put in that effort to help guide you in your decision-making process. But at the end of the day, we as recruiters or people that are in the military that you're going to be consulting and asking questions like, should I go here? Should I go there? Should I do this? Should I do that? It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what they say. At the end of the day, it's what you say, what is important to you. And you have to understand that when people give you advice on whether this job is for you or this branch of service is for you, they're telling you through their lens of life, what their experiences have been, what they think they know about the military through hearsay or what they see in the media or limited, maybe misinformation or what have you, right? They're expressing themselves through their lens of life, what their interests are, what their deal breakers are, what's important to them, their thought processes and their mindset. So again, take it with a grain of salt. It's nice to hear people's opinions, but that's exactly what it is. It's an opinion. At the end of the day, the onus is on you to do your due diligence, to do your own research. Again, I have a whole video dedicated to this. Checking out the official websites, talking to people like me online, not necessarily an influencer, but people who are currently serving or previously served. But again, take that with a grain of salt. And each one of us are going to be either loving our experience, hating our experience, or are indifferent. And in my experience, the ones who hated their experience in the military is generally because when they first joined, they did not do enough or any research at all. And they just hopped on real quick and they took for face value what their recruiter told them. So they were sold on a particular expectation that was clearly not met when they got to their first duty station, or maybe they legitimately had a bad experience. But it's usually because they didn't do their due diligence and research and their expectations were not met. Therefore, that put a bad taste in their mouth and they hated their experience. And yeah, so just keep that in mind. So just because one person has a bad experience doesn't mean that you're going to have a bad experience. So I could sit here and say, oh man, Fort Hamilton sucks. I hated Fort Hamilton. But like 10 other people will be like, no, man, I love Fort Hamilton. It was quiet. It was this, it was that. I enjoyed this. I had really good leadership. And it really depends on the individual and their work ethic, their attitude, you know, what effort they put into maximizing their experience within the military. So at the end of the day, you drive the train on your experience. Okay. And I will tell you this, like being in the military is not easy. You have some good days, you have some not so good days. Sometimes you go through seasons that are really, really good, that are really high. And some seasons you're really, really low. I will say that in my almost February 9th will be 24 years in the Army National Guard. Luckily, most of them have been high, right? But there were 2 seasons that were my lowest points of my National Guard Army career. And one was when I had truly toxic leadership at the time. I'm not going to mention any names, but it was like a long time ago. And last year I had a low season that I'm climbing up and out of that hole to have a better year this year. So I'm recovering from last year from professional, personal reasons, all that stuff. It was just a rough year last year overall. So that is pretty much why I really didn't post much last year. But again, right? It's about your resilience, and the Army is going to teach you resiliency training. I don't know why I went down this rabbit hole, but I just wanted to get this off my chest about everything I just shared. So just make sure that you make the decisions for your reasons and your reasons alone. All right. So hopefully I conveyed that to you. And again, my opinion does not matter. Your opinion does. And if you're one of those people, to add to this, if you're one of those people like, well, should I go Navy or should I go Army? I don't really care which one you go for, just go for it. And at the end of the day, this is what like my newest thing that I've been doing lately. When somebody gives me like, should I do this or that? Like, let's just say this and that are exactly the same in every shape, form, or fashion, in every aspect, everything that you want, aspire for, inspire to be, and all that good stuff. If everything is the same, benefits, this, that, whatever, everything is the same. Of these 2 options or 3 options, whatever it is that you're trying to do, which one do you gravitate to most? And whatever that option is, that's the one that you should go for. So anybody that's telling you you should go here, you should go there, take it with a grain of salt, make an informed decision, and do what's right for you. And if you're married and or have dependents like kids or whatever, do what's right for you and your family. We as recruiters, we get paid regardless if you sign up or not. Regardless if you sign up, we're getting paid salary. We're not losing money. We're not commission-based recruiters, okay? We're salary-based. I know I went down. What's up, Juliana? I see you. I see you, baby girl. Hope you're doing well. Hope school was well. But with that being said, that's what I have to say about that. Looks like I'm gonna have to block some new words. Definitely don't want things to get political here. All right, so something Eerie Jason, all right, says, can reserve be a stepping? Oh yeah, we already talked about this. Yeah, please don't repeat your questions. Ew, Xbox says, hey. All right, Super Breaker. Any new incentives for the guard enlisted officer for Q1 2024? Well, we're in Q2 right now. And same old. But get with your recruiter to know if and what bonuses are available to you. Other than that, nothing is new. American Spy says, I went through MEPS a month ago. Hopefully it went well. Giuseppe De Rosa says, it's crazy that MEPS has taken very long for things despite them not getting as many people as before. All right, so MEPS is, in my opinion, well, actually, we are processing fewer people, and that's because of Genesis. The visibility of people's records is what prevents, probably off the top of my head, unofficially, not anecdotal or whatever that word is, maybe 10 or 15%. So like our MEPS used to process upwards to like closer to 100, give or take. Now they're processing most days, like towards the middle and later of the week, like 68 to like 80 something. So it's about 10 to 15% fewer than usual. But the problem is MEPS is like going through some stuff, right? So they're understaffed. In Genesis, it added like a learning curve to everything. And I don't know, they just need to un-F themselves because the whole process is just atrocious. Like, I don't want to say something I'm not supposed to, so I'm just going to keep it at that. I don't want to get in trouble. I love my job. But yeah. All right. Prestige says, I am looking to join the Army National Guard, but I want to accumulate enough active time, get all the benefits with the Army Reserve, give more opportunities instead of waiting 6 years to deploy or active. What type of benefits are you trying to get? Like, are you trying to get like the post 9/11 GI Bill? So just so you're aware, the post 9/11 GI Bill, you have to do at least 90 consecutive days of qualifying federal active duty service. And that's just to get 50% of that benefit. To get 100% of the post 9/11 benefit, you have to do 3 years full time. Like 3 years active duty time. Okay. And with that being said, you could get 50% with just 90 days. Now, if you mean like also the VA home loan and small business loan, yes, 90 consecutive days again, as previously described, to get that benefit now rather than later, or 6 years part-time. I think that's what you were trying, one of those things. Yeah. VA loan. Okay. Yeah. So 90 consecutive days for qualifying federal active duty service or deploy, that, you know, that should be qualifying, or any Title 10 time for 90 days or more or whatever. You can get it. But yeah. And you're, yeah, for the VA loan. Yeah, 100%. All right, cool. All right. That solves that problem. I'm not gonna have to guess now. All right. So Walter Flores, how long should I wait on my recruiter to respond to my message? It depends on how consistent they were before. So like worst case scenario, like try calling, leaving a voicemail, sending a couple of texts, and worst case scenario, do a hot knock at the recruiting office and find out, like, I don't know if you require a waiver or what, but just hit your recruiter up and If you honestly feel like they're ghosting you, then switch recruiters. Like the recruiter can't get mad at you if they fail to communicate effectively with you. And I need to do a little bit better myself, because MEPS is taking so long, I'm not communicating as frequently as I should with updates. So that's something I need to work on myself. But yeah, MEPS is, yeah. Anyway, I gotta stay away from MEPS. But yeah, if anything, like contact another recruiter. But if you require a waiver, and sometimes recruiters are just not confident enough to tell you that you're just not qualified, and they just hope that you lose interest. If you're in that situation, the only person who would be able to let you know that is a recruiter who would pre-qualify you or whatever. But yes, it's situational. And if you want, you can direct message me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ. I'll ask you those questions and find out if you're just not qualified and your recruiter's just stringing you along. But hopefully it all works out. How long will it ship for 11 Bravo? As early as 2 weeks after you sign your contract, but no more than 4 months. Riley Simmons says hashtag Team Swords. Appreciate you. Brian Collins says 2 years since I last tried, DQ'd or disqualified due to super old information that popped up in Genesis and waivers denied. I've waited and trying to go again now. What type of chances do I have? I take the ASVAB or PICAT. Honestly, I don't know your situation, and you didn't give me enough info to intelligently respond to this. But if you need a medical waiver, then check out this video here. But direct message me on Instagram and I'll be able to get back to you. At this rate, I don't think I'll be able to get to you if you respond back. This person says, I heard certain infantry companies are experimenting with 16-week cycles. Not sure though. I have yet to see anyone sign a 16-week OSUT for infantry. So if it is happening, I have not seen it yet. There's a lot of rumors out there, but I have yet to see anything in action in real life. Bryant Lazar says, do I need a 50 on the ASVAB to qualify for bonuses? At some point, do I get told to qualify for a bonus? And when am I, when I'm with the recruiter in the beginning or at the visit at MEPS? So at the end of the day, MEPS will let you know if you're going to get any type of incentive. But in general, at least for the National Guard, and an active duty recruiter can correct me if I'm wrong, but an enlistment bonus does require you to score a 50 or better on the ASVAB. If you have just a GED, you're not going to be eligible for a bonus. You must be a tier 1 level education credential holder, meaning that a high school graduate or higher, or if you do have a GED, which is a tier 2 education credential, if you marry, or not marry, but if you have earned 15 or more college credits, even though you have a GED, having the 15 college credits or more will now raise you from a tier 2 level to a tier 1 level. So if you have just a GED, no bonus authorized. But if you have 15 or more college credits, that puts you in a tier 1 level, and that will meet that requirement. And then there could be like contract length options, specific MOS or restrictions, rather, not options, but restrictions. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's got to be a true vacancy. The unit can't be over strength. You got to sign up for a minimum of 6 years. It's MOS specific. And again, this is for the guard, but yeah, 50 on the ASVAB or better. So there's a lot of restrictions when doing it. Now, if you're doing like an off-peak bonus or a quick ship bonus, then those do not require, it's probably closed off if you have a GED, but it's not, the AFQT of your ASVAB scores are not factored into that for those two bonuses. But for enlistment bonuses, then yes, you need all that stuff. My email address is, I'll put it in the chat box. Please don't spam me. teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. Hallelujah. Let's see. Ew says, what happens if you pass MEPS exam? It just means that you pre-qualify based on that. So if you pass the ASVAB, that means you're now pre-qualified with the test results. If you pass medical, that means you're pre-qualified based on the medical. And then there's other factors that will be factored into it. Brianna McGillen says, how's it going? Pretty good. Thank you for asking. Haven't been in for a long time. Hoping to get a date for ALC soon, which is an advanced leadership course for those who don't know. Thanks again for all that you for all your help over the years. And hard to believe I've been in for almost 5 years. I remember when you were coming on here religiously every week before you joined, and for a hot minute after you got back from training. And I appreciate you sticking around to the tuning in from time to time and commenting beneath my videos and watching my videos. So I appreciate you, Brianna. Thank you very much, as usual. All right, so we got Nabil here. Says, been a year since I enlisted and denied any advice for a CPA waiver. What's CPA? I don't follow. What's a CPA? If you're here, Nabil, I'm gonna try to pay attention over here on my cell phone. Let me know what CPA is. But if it's medical related, my best tips are here. It's also linked down below in the chat box. Alex says, the Army is requiring a psych eval for enlistment. What kind of things do they ask? Good question. What was the psych eval for, if you're still here? Were you depressed in the past? What's the rhyme or reason for them requesting your psych eval? They always do it for a reason. They don't just do it for no reason. Was it a diagnosis for ADHD? What? All right. So in general, a psych eval is basically, depending on what the issue is from your past, whether it was depression, ADHD, so on and so forth, they're going to be asking you questions, personality type questions, and to see what your like resiliency is and the why behind everything. How did you overcome it? Any type of support systems that were in place, any coping mechanisms that you used then versus now, and so on and so forth. And but without further information, that's pretty much all I have for you at this point. But my medical waiver will go over everything else. Andrew, if you direct ship, will you know in advance, and will you be able to let your family know and have them visit before you leave? So the day you sign your contract, you know your ship date. So like, we're not going to send you out a week before you're supposed to arrive. So you're going to arrive the day that you're supposed to ship is the day that you're going to leave. But your recruiter should tell you, because we don't do direct ship where we're at. We ship you through MEPS. So if your recruiter directly ships people, then your recruiter is your go-to person to get those types of details. All right. But you know when your ship date is, so definitely visit your family beforehand. All right, so can you pick the Army basic training location? So here's how it works, right? So when you're at MEPS and you're about to sign your contract, and when they go to schedule you for training, it's based on your MOS and your basic training date. So what the system is looking for is a basic training graduation date and the start date of your AIT within a 2-week time period. So if more than one option populates into the system, you can look at where those training locations are for basic training and choose that. In most cases, you can choose when you ship, as long as they're all within 4 months, 3 to 4 months from you signing your contract. Okay. But if there's only one option that populates in the system, that's it. That's your only option. Like, I got to choose. I think I had like close to like 10 different options. And my only contingency was I wanted, because I didn't get the job that I wanted because I failed the color test. So I was like, all right, I want to enjoy my summer before I leave. So the next available ship date after the summer ended was like October 18th was when I shipped to Fort Knox, Kentucky. Jerry R says, hoping to get 68 whiskey and with Army National Guard Reserve. All right, Jerry, if you're still here. Oops. Get out of with there are differences between National Guard and Reserve. So I'll post this video for you. This is a Guard versus Reserve video. It's 52 minutes long, but it's very concise, short, succinct, and to the point, but jam-packed with a lot of information. I addressed the pros and the cons from both sides. So you got to understand, when people talk about pros and cons, they're talking about pros and cons from their, like I said earlier in the stream, through their lens. So in this video, I am as fair as possible in expressing it from both angles. So I express how one thing could be a possible pro and how something could be a possible con. So I play devil's advocate throughout the whole video. So it's very good. Go check that out if you're contemplating Guard or Reserve. But with that being said, good luck. Corinne says, how do you become the honor graduate at basic training? First time go and everything. Passing your Army combat fitness test, relatively high. It doesn't have to be the highest, but relatively high. Typically involves student leadership positions and having the highest overall rating, pretty much. All right, so we got Amber here. It says Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Oh, gotcha. All right, cool. But I think the other thing that I was confused about, but that makes sense. Thank you for sharing. Stefan says, do I get certifications like CDL or certificate of training after being in 91 Bravo? I would like to open up my own shop after service. So you're still going to have to get ACE or ACE certified at like a trade school or college, but that is additional training experience that you could put on a resume. So what I would suggest to you is you go in as a 91 Bravo, you get all that training and experience, and while you're in service, you're going to work. So if you're Guard or Reserve, you're going to work part-time or full-time while you attend a trade school or college to get your ACE certification and continue your service in the Guard or Reserve as a 91 Bravo so you can have all that stuff under your belt. And the reason why I'm saying working in that field as a mechanic somewhere, whether it's like AutoZone or like a Jiffy Lube or a Ford or any other car agency, the reason why I'm saying that is so that you can get real world experience outside of the Army, right? Because the more experience and training that you have, once you get your credentials, that should give you a few years worth of experience. And depending how long that takes, you may qualify for the VA small business loan. So now you have the experience, you have the training, you have the certifications, everything that you need. And if you get the VA small business loan, you can start your own business and you can hire people as well, like other mechanics or whatever, have a good solid business plan and stuff like that, and be in there like swimwear. It'd be a good path to go. But no, you don't get a CDL. 88 mics, depending on what state you're in. 88 mic is motor transport, aka truck drivers. A lot of states offer you certain CDL licenses based on your credentials and experience as an 88 mic within the Guard or Reserve, but not as a mechanic. Dakota, what happens if you chose an MOS that requires a secret clearance and it ends up getting denied? So you're going to end up getting reclassed into a new MOS that does not require a clearance. And hopefully it's something that you're interested in. If not, it's based on the needs of the Army, just so you're aware. So do your best. Tickle Me Otter says, I am 30 years old, married with 2 kids, been at my job for 9 years. Would it be smart or stupid to join the Army National Guard or the Army? I don't think it's stupid at all. Now, if you are content with, all right, so I'll put it this way. This video is going to do you justice. Hopefully you're still here because it's taken me forever to get here. This is the active duty versus Guard Reserve video. This is going to go over everything. But you have to do your research and you have to decide for your reasons and your reasons alone. My advice is just simply information. And that video will give you examples of all that stuff. So if you're making okay money and you're satisfied with that, and you just want to serve on a part-time basis without that full-time commitment and still have that flexibility to be there for your family and have that good quality time with your family while living your life as you see fit while serving part-time, then the Guard Reserve would be a great addition to what you have going on. And again, you have the ability to go full-time later on if you like it and your family is okay with it and all that good stuff. Now, if you go regular Army active duty, I don't know if that's going to be a pay cut for you or not, because when you first start out, it sucks, right? But as you move up in rank, the longer you're in, the more you get paid. But one huge benefit of going full-time regular Army, depending on what your income is before you join, it's a set fixed income. So you never have to pay for rent or electric, provided that you live on base. If you live on a military base, then you don't pay for electric, water, heat, or anything like that. Your rent is covered, all that good stuff, right? And you have a place to live. And if you live off post, then try to find somewhere where you don't have to pay anything extra, because you will receive what we call BAH, basic allowance for housing, money for a mortgage or an apartment. So live within your means. So that way you can budget correctly or more effectively with your base pay and your possible what we call CONUS, COLA, and BAS, which is like additional money that's also non-taxed like the BAH. So between your base pay, which is taxed, your possible CONUS, COLA, and BAS, it's extra money. But just budget your money, live within your means, don't live above your means. And it could be a good, worthwhile opportunity for you if you're a responsible adult. But if you don't manage your money properly, you could be setting yourself up for, I don't want to say failure, but a rude awakening. So just be smart with your money, make good decisions, do your research, make an informed decision, and move forward. Again, my opinion doesn't matter, but that video, Guard versus Active Duty and Reserve or whatever, definitely go check out that video. I think you'll find that very, very helpful. And if you got any additional questions from that, you can always direct message me on Instagram at Team Swartz. Brandini says, hashtag Team Swartz. Hope you and your family had a great, happy holiday and a new year. Been watching your live stream since 2021, and it is very educational. Hashtag Team Swartz. Hope to place my questions here sometime soon. Perfect. Hopefully I get to them tonight. You can always direct message me on Instagram at Team Swartz, and I can get you there as well. But I appreciate your kind words, and thank you. Happy New Year to you and yours, and hope all is well. All right, so we got Sarah Gonzalez says, that's what I'll be signing up for, the Army National Guard. I'm wanting to go to boot camp already, just playing the waiting game, and the process of joining is taking long. Yes, hang in there. The whole MEPS process is insane right now. I have so many applicants that I'm working that things are moving so slow, and it's crazy. Oh, so frustrating. But hang in there, Sarah. Welcome to recruiting. Hopefully you're committed, so you'll be here for a while. All right, Giuseppe says, are reservists and National Guard considered veterans when they get out? So it depends on the context behind that question. So for employment purposes, you will list that you're a veteran. If you deployed overseas in a combat zone, then you could be referred to as a combat veteran. Now, the way I look at it is this here. If you served, yes, you are a veteran, but there are certain in general, you're considered a veteran, right? A retiree is somebody, I mean, they too are veterans, but they're retirees, people that did 20 plus years in the military. All right. But with that said, there are certain benefits. So like, for example, let's say you want the VA home loan or small business loan. You have to be a veteran for that. So again, for this example, you need 90 consecutive days or more of qualifying federal active duty service to qualify for the VA loan to be considered a veteran to get the veteran's benefits, or 6 years part-time if you never deploy. There you have it, right? So for employment purposes, if you serve more than 1 day, you're a veteran, pretty much. But there are certain benefits that require certain times in, whether it's reserve or guard or, active duty or whatever. And a retiree is someone who had completed 20 or more years. All right. So there you go. All right. So we got Rogue Play says discharged from the Marine Corps for, I believe, suicide ideation and depression in 2021. Tried to re-enlist recently, but got pushed back, denied due to emotional dependency. I need advice to continue with my re-enlistment. All my advice, tips, tricks, and insights and best practices are going to be in this video here when it comes to depression and suicide ideation. Now, if you were on medication for like any type of psychiatric medication or anything like that, or that's what I'm looking for, something along those lines, MEPS may make you wait 36 months from the time you completed that medication. And the rest of the video will explain what steps you need to do to give the CMO and the Surgeon General who ultimately decides upon your waiver request. So if it was recently denied, like 2021, 3, 4, so you might have to wait an extra year. Not sure what emotional dependency is, but you need to show that you're stable. Like, I don't know how they got to like emotional dependency, because you need a support system, and the support system is usually like your family and or friends. I don't know. I'm not a mental health professional, but my best tips are in that video. Okay, and good luck to you. May the waiver gods forever be in your favor. Valkyrie says, any tips for MEPS psych eval? Should I take anything like my letters of recommendation? So one thing I learned recently is the psych consultation that MEPS schedules for you that medical professional does not have access to like your college transcript or your character reference letters, or even your applicant statement. All right. So yes, I'm not sure what you need the psych eval for, but it might be helpful that if you've earned a degree after you've been cleared from this situation, having your college transcript could be helpful. Having your 3 character reference letters with you to provide to them to review, and just be honest up front. Own the situation. Don't like downplay it or play, downplay it or make it act like it's no big deal. Like, actually own it, be honest. And what they're looking for is the why, how you overcame it, why you feel that you're clear from it now. What coping mechanisms that you used then versus now. Support systems and things of that nature, and what your goals and aspirations are in life. Like, do you plan on furthering your education? Do you want to, work in a specific career field? Again, goals and things that you want to accomplish in life. That's what they're looking for. All right. I can't think of the term that they use for that, but yeah, those are some helpful tips for you. And they may give you a personality test too. Joe also asks, what is the age limit for becoming a cyber officer in the Guard? I have an associate's degree and plan on getting my bachelor's when I complete AIT. So OCS for active duty and reserve is, I believe, you have to commission on or before your 34th birthday, I believe. And for Guard, you have up until your 42nd birthday. But check out my OCS video here coming into the chat box. Also link down below. And now we'll go over OCS. So it doesn't matter if it's cyber or medical or anything else. That video is about OCS in general. And just so you're aware, you don't get to sign a contract for a specific branch as an officer. So you have to understand that when you're joining through OCS to commission as an officer, it's not until like the end of phase 1 going into phase 2 where you get your list and submit your list of the top 10 branches of the Army that you want to commission as, meaning the top choice, which is like sign me up, put me in, coach, to not as interested, but willing to commission at. So basically most interested to least interested. And at the end of the day, it's always going to be based on the needs of the Army. So just understand that you might not get cyber officer or branch as cyber. Now, they do try to do their best to put you into where your degree is at because of the education that you have, but that doesn't always play out in your favor. But good luck with that. And yeah. So Walter says, got ASVAB overall 51 and now waiting on the recruiter. Been waiting for 2 weeks. How long should it wait for respond getting ghosted? So honestly, it could just be we're waiting for a response from MEPS. Like I'm waiting like over a month for stuff at MEPS. And some people I've worked like literally almost 3 months before I got them cleared to even do the medical exam and jump through other hoops to get them processed. So just hang in there. Just communicate consistently with your recruiter at like maybe once a week. But you should definitely be able to get a response from your recruiter. Like they shouldn't be ignoring you. Like if they don't get back to you within 24 hours, hit them up again. If they don't get back to you within 24 hours, hit them up again. If they don't reach back out to you within a week, pardon my French, but fuck them. Find a new recruiter. Golf videos. I contracted to do split ops and completed basic training, but failed to do AIT due to COVID vaccine. Do you think I can re-enlist, and how many soldiers have you brought back due to the COVID discharges? I have yet to meet somebody that was discharged for COVID that wanted to come back in to date. That could change, but as of right now, I haven't ran into anybody that was discharged for it and wanted to come back in. But I'm going off the top of my head here. I'd have to look it up, but I don't even think that requires a waiver anymore. But even if it does, it's a slam dunk easy waiver. Like that is definitely not going to get denied if that's the only thing that's on your record. So as long as your DD-214 or DD-220 shows that you completed phase 1, which is basic training, then you don't have to do basic training as long as it's less than 5 years, obviously because of COVID. So it is under 5 years. So in your case, as long as you have proof and evidence that you completed Army basic training, you shouldn't have to do basic training over again. But if you were in a OSUT MOS doing split ops, then you're going to have to do basic training in AIT. Unless your DD-214 or DD-220 states specifically that you graduated from Army basic training. So being split up, you probably did do a basic training. So as long as that's the case, then you're fine. Because OSUT, there is no like fine line that you actually met your graduation requirements. So in OSUT, yes, around the 10-week mark, you do the turning green to signify that you've completed 10 weeks of basic training. Supposedly the basic training requirements, but that's not always the case. But yeah, so just word to the wise. Frank asks, prior service, honorable, I don't know what 256 is, but got out in 2017. Plan on getting with a recruiter this spring as I have a few more things in life to get sorted out. Now 32 years old. Do recruiters prioritize prior service the same? If you're going guard, it doesn't matter if you're non-prior or prior service. You're a contract to us. So a contract is a contract. Now, I'm not an active duty recruiter, but sometimes I get the vibe based on the conversation, things that are said by active duty recruiters that they do get credit, and then like other recruiters say that they don't get credit and they're not a priority. So if you're going active duty, it really depends on your recruiter, honestly. It's just sometimes working with prior service applicants, they can be a little bit more challenging because let's say they feel that they were screwed over first time coming in, and they want everything on a poo-poo platter, and they feel like they can make certain demands that we can't deliver on because it just doesn't work that way. But in their mind, because they got, in their mind, like I said, shafted before when they first joined, they just want everything that they want when they're coming back in. And again, it doesn't always work out that way. But yeah, anyway, but yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Ryan says, will I be sent to Taiwan in case of China invade Taiwan if I get into the National Guard? Listen, it doesn't matter if you're National Guard, Reserve, or Army, or any other branch of service. If the fight goes somewhere and we need to be there by the direction of the president, we're going there, wherever that may be. So you have to understand that when you're signing a contract, you're signing the dotted line to support and defend this country, both domestically and overseas. Okay? And that's the raw truth. You have to understand that you are a soldier first, and then whatever your job is in the Army. Okay? Welcome to my TED Talk. All right. Stack says, if I bring my naturalization application with me to basic training to Fort Jackson, are they going to help me complete it and send it UCIS from there? All right. So if at all possible, Stacks, get your N426 signed off by an 06 before leaving, which is optimum. And then you can complete and upload the N400 and the N426. So the way it works is the N400 is your application for U.S. citizenship as a regular average person. The N426 is you applying again for citizenship, but through the military. And that does two things. By applying with the N426 attached to your N400, it waives the fee, which is upwards to $1,000, and it expedites the process. So like, regardless if you met the 5-year minimum requirement to be in the United States, it doesn't matter if you just got your green card like 3 months ago, right? It waives that requirement and you can expedite the process. So 98% or better, based on my experience, are coming back with U.S. citizenship. So in my opinion, if you can get your N426 signed off by your 06 and you're going to upload the N400 and the N426 through USCIS as a military member to begin the process. And then when you get to basic training, you're going to bring those two forms with you just in case. So you have them, or let's say you don't end up submitting them directly to USCIS. They will submit it for you on your behalf into the website and everything, give you the study materials and knock out the fingerprints, the written and oral exams. And usually by the time you graduate from basic training, no later than AIT, you're going to have your naturalization certificate and be a U.S. citizen. But understand that even though you get your naturalization certificate, and let's say let's say, I'm not saying this is you, but for those who are listening, if you decide that you want to join the military because you want to get U.S. citizenship because it's expedited and it's free, if you get your certificate, your naturalization certificate, and you're like, well, I got what I wanted, I'm out, and then you fail out of training or you fail to become MOS qualified after you get your citizenship, understand that it's contingent on you serving satisfactorily. So if you get your naturalization certificate and you never become MOS qualified, right, and you get kicked out for whatever reason, they will revoke and you will lose your U.S. citizenship. So make sure that you get at least MOS qualified, or else you will lose your citizenship. All right. Now, if you get your citizenship and you become MOS qualified and you met that requirement, then you're good to go. And in the future, if for some reason you get discharged from the Army, not saying you would, but let's say you get kicked out of the Army for less than honorable reasons, you're going to keep your citizenship. All right. Because you've already gotten your citizenship. But if you get discharged before you get your U.S. citizenship, you're not going to get your citizenship. And if you get your citizenship and you don't become MOS qualified, you will lose your citizenship. So the key factor is you got to be MOS qualified and remain in good standing at least up until you get your citizenship. Now, that's not me telling you that you should get kicked out after you get your citizenship and after you're MOS qualified. That's not what I'm saying. Like, do your part. All right. You still run the risk of losing it, but that is a guaranteed way of losing it based on what I just shared with you. All right. So heed that warning. Let's see. Mario Carino says, what if you have high cholesterol? Will MEP send me back? They won't even allow you to even do the medical exam if you currently have high blood pressure. And if you do have high blood pressure, or cholesterol rather, during the medical exam or during the blood work, then you won't be able to join until you are good. But yeah, you can't have high cholesterol regardless. All right. Hopefully that I was clear on that. So currently high cholesterol, you won't be allowed to do it until you are within the respectable range that you should be at and be stable for a certain amount of period before you be entertained to do the medical exam. But let's say you don't know and you do the medical exam and through the blood work, they find out you have high cholesterol. If you've already signed a contract, you'll be discharged until that's rectified. But yeah, there's a few variables there, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So Edward asks, why do you recommend the National Guard over the Reserve? So the only time, and I say this in my Guard versus Reserve video, and let me put that back in here so you can go watch that at your leisure, because that'll go into more detail. But the summary is, the Cliff Notes is, if you're going for college and college is important to you and you want to maximize the amount that college is paid for, this is the only time that I will say the National Guard is better than a reserve or any other branch of the service, all right? Because of our state tuition assistance that you will not get in the reserve or any other branch of the service, all right? State tuition is only for the National Guard, whether that's Air National Guard or the Army National Guard, all right? But that's the only time. Other than that, I will never tell you that the Guard is better than anyone else. Now, I may have my own reasons why I feel that the Guard in general is better than the reserve, but that's based on my needs, wants, and desires, and for my reasons. And I'm not going to convey that to you because I don't know you and all that stuff as previously described. But if you want to hear some more stuff about that, you can check out this video here. Don't join the U.S. Army until you watch this video. It's also linked down below. You can check that out later. And when am I going to retire? My intent is to retire May of 2025. I'm debating whether I want to retire in May or finish out my last fiscal year as a recruiter in September of 2025. But between May and September of next year, that's my goal and that's my intent. If we go into World War III, I'll stay longer. But if we don't, then I'm out. Mario says, what if you have high cholesterol? Will MEP send... Wait, I talked about that. Munchie says, can you talk about the PT test and online classes that you could take to go in E2 before starting boot camp? All right, so basic training preparation video will cover the study material and the structure skills test that you're talking about. But as far as the PT test, not sure what you want to know, but there are 6 events. You do the 3 repetition maximum deadlift, a standing power throw, throwing a 10-pound ball over your head and behind you as far as you can, doing the hand release T push-ups, the sprint drag carry, the plank, and a 2-mile run. You have to score a minimum of 60% in each event. If you fail any one event, regardless if you killed it in the other 5 events, just because you fail one event, you fail the entire test. So you have to navigate accordingly. So whatever your strengths and weaknesses are, don't kill yourself on one event just because you're good at it. That could hinder you from another event. So you have to manage your output to meet the minimum standards for all 6 events. All right, so do your best. And that video will take care of the study material as well. Hussein asks, how are you doing, Josar? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And just working overnight and passing through to say hello. Well, I appreciate you, Hussein. Thank you very much. And stay blessed, man. Edward says, can you stay as an E4 for 20 years? In the Guard or Reserve, yes, you can. Active duty, I think after like 14 to 16 years, it's called high-end tenure, I believe. And if you're not a sergeant by a certain time frame, you could get discharged because you're not moving up, right? So just understand that. And I have college degree and portable. Logically, I'm learning towards enlistment over commissioning. Any options? Not sure what that means. What portable logically? I'm not sorry, I don't understand. But it looks like you're debating whether you want to go enlisted or as an officer. Well, State Guard is like auxiliary. It's just volunteer with no pay unless you're activated for a state emergency or something. But yeah, so you said a lot, but I'm not really sure what it is that you're asking, unfortunately. So I'm just going to post a video about OCS. You could check that out. I have a jobs video for enlisted, and I don't have anything about the state guard specifically, but understand state guard has no military status. You're literally just to supplement the National Guard when they do certain things. And that's the only time you get paid is when you're activated. Other than that, you drill whenever you drill, and whatever training you do is all free out of pocket. All right. But you only get paid when you're activated, when you're in the state guard. But the Army National Guard, the Air National Guard, you're in paid status. You have actual military affiliation and in paid status with benefits. EO Xbox says, I'm trying to join the Army and lost my birth certificate and have my high school diploma. I'm born in Pennsylvania, but I currently live in New York City. Can I get a birth certificate in New York City, even though I'm born in PA? No, what I would recommend is actually, you know what? Shoot me a direct message on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ. I will speak to our guidance counselor who just transferred from recruiting into guidance counselor. She's from Pennsylvania, and she'll tell me how you can order online your birth certificate, and then you can get that ordered. All right. So again, direct message me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ, and I will get you the information that you look for so you can order it, or just Google order Pennsylvania birth certificate. You might even be able to just call your dang, I forgot what it's called. It depends on your small town. Like I got mine. Where did I get mine? I think it was the courthouse. I forgot. Anyway. But yeah, you might be able to order online, but I'll figure it out for you and let you know. Edward says, you ideally would have been in the state or National Guard during... Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if they were on it, yeah. Not sure what that's about, but I apologize for not understanding. Let's see. This person says, I had thyroid surgery in August, and because of this, I got pancreatitis, whatever it's called. I also have anemia due to fibroids. Will I be able to join the Army? Everything has been fine since then. All right. So I'm not a medical professional, but that sounds like a whole lot of things that's going to disqualify you. No waivers authorized, but the thyroid. So if all this plays into hyper or hypothyroidism, then hyperthyroidism is non-waiver, like no waiver authorized. Hypothyroidism can be eligible for you to join, no waiver required, and you will be able to continue your prescription on hypothyroidism, which I'll type in here what the requirements are. All right. So if it's hypothyroidism and that's the only issue, that again won't require a waiver. Just read that, get that blood work done and that testing or evaluation, and that once that's reviewed and approved, you're good to go. Again, won't require a waiver. But if it's hyperthyroidism, you're a no-go at the station. Now, what concerns me is the pancreatic issue and the anemia. Anemia is a no-go and usually never approved. And if you got issue, I'm not familiar with fibroids, but again, it's like a trifecta, 3 things that does not sound good, that is not normally approved. All right. So hopefully that works out for you, but get all your records. And again, watch my medical waiver video guide right here. It's also linked down below. All right. DJOS says, on the website, it says 50,000 enlistment bonus. Is that only for certain MOS? Also for quick ship bonus, which is 40K. Is that any MOS? Haven't talked to a recruiter yet. You're definitely going to have to talk to your active duty recruiter, because that's not any one thing specifically that's going to give you a $50,000 bonus. It's usually a collection of things, and it will be MOS specific, duty station specific, how fast you ship out specific, if you get specialty schools specific, length of contract specific, and maybe even unit specific. So all these things are going to be part of that factor in what bonuses that you're going to be possibly eligible for. And it could be also contingent on your ASAP scores as well. So it's a whole host of things, and only active duty recruiter is going to be able to share all that specific information with you. Good luck. Edward says, I have 3 waivable conditions. One recruiter admitted that they could probably get through all committees. It would just take 40 to 100 hours. Don't want to do it. That was for the Navy a few years ago. Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about. But if you want to direct message me on Instagram at Team Swartz, give me a synopsis of what your original diagnoses were, if you fully recovered from them, and if there are any limitations or restrictions. And then obviously check out my medical video guide first before you hit me up. That'll address a lot of your questions and concerns, and then I'll be able to share with you my thoughts. I miss you too, baby girl. Have a good night, Juliana. I miss you a lot. I miss you a lot. Hope you had a good day in school. All right, so Vital Statistics Office. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you for the assist, South Jersey Artisan. Department of Vital Statistics. Let's see. Brian says, do you have an email address? I don't have IG. I think I already put that in there, but I'll put it in there again just in case. teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. Skimmy says, can you commission as a Green Beret officer? No. To be considered for Special Forces, you have to be at least a first lieutenant promotable to captain to be considered to be an officer in Special Forces. What's up, Brandini? Appreciate you tuning in. Maddie says, I'm planning to join the Army soon and I just need help. What should I do before I go to basic training? I meant join. Gotcha. Watch this video here. This will get you prepared on so many different levels and things that you weren't even considering or factoring into your preparation process, and you will thank me for it afterwards. I guarantee you that. Josh says, howdy, everyone. Graduating 19 Delta OSUT November 30th. Congratulations. Good luck on the next chapter of your Army career. Hua frickin' Luya. All right. Chris says, my recruiter said I could go in as an E4 specialist with my CDL school and endorsements, but I'm doing the future soldier for my weight. So I will still be able to choose my MOS to enter as an E4 National Guard. So you can, if you have a CDL and the schoolhouse approves it, yes, you can join as a specialist E4, providing that you join as an 88 mic truck driver, or motor transport is a proper name for it in the Army. But yes, if your CDL driver's license approves you for it, it's called the Civilian Acquired Skills Program. And as long as you go through the CASP program as an 88 mic, you will join as an E4, 88 mic motor transport as a specialist E4. Okay. Let's see. I'm Chippy says, EU civilian here. Basic fitness is the best for joining the Army, but would you also recommend a sport for people to get into shape for the Army, like soccer or self-defense or sports, anything else? All that will definitely help with the cardio aspect and overall fitness. In fact, I think that playing sports in general is probably a more enjoyable way of getting and maintaining a basic level of fitness before joining. You don't necessarily have to be in like a body weight or weight training program, although that definitely will help. But anything that gets you moving and picking things up and putting them down to get a basic level of fitness, whether it's with body weight, traditional weights, or cardio or high intensity interval training and stuff like that, anything helps, whatever that may be. Just don't get injured. All right. Not sure what that means. Sorry about that. Brandini says, hashtag Team Swartz. Just listen to your response to my question. Geeking out right now. Well, I appreciate it. And this person also says, I will definitely place my questions on here on your IG account. Awesome. Even better. Step Bro says, my recruiter is asking for more information about a concussion I had 5 years ago, but I gave him all the information my pediatrician has to offer about it. What else can I do to get clearance? So concussion, I would probably say, like, I would ask your PCP, your primary care physician, who the best specialist that would be able to evaluate you and give you an all clear letter, whether that's your PCP, him or herself, or a type of specialist, whether that is a neurologist, I don't know what concussions falls under, but whatever that specialist may be, I would get an updated evaluation and run any type of testing that you possibly can get done and obtain an all clear letter in accordance with how I describe it in my video here. But you got to basically have the old documents, right? So if you went to the emergency room, you need the emergency room records. If there was surgery involved, you need the pre and post surgery records, the post operative reports and notes, rather, report or notes. And if you went through rehab, you need the rehab records and the all clear letter from your PCP at minimum. And if you can get to a specialist for an updated evaluation or medical exam, you need those records as well. And a strong applicant record statement, a physical activities report, and yeah. And if you've had since that injury, if you've played any type of organized sports, getting letters from like the coaches or event organizers or whatever stating that yes, you were an athlete or you played sports from this year to this year and blah blah blah. All that helps, but the video will go over a lot of this stuff as well. So good luck on your medical waiver, and may the medical waiver gods forever be in your favor. Okay, Levon says, will this live be saved, including chat? The live stream, yes. I don't recall if the chats are ever saved. I don't know if I have that turned on or not, but I put the chats on the screen and I address everything, so you can skim through it and look at different questions. But yeah, the live streams you can watch the replay for sure, or the rebroadcast. Alpha Beach says, could you get through MEPS with self-harm scars? Yes, but if it's documented, you're definitely gonna need a medical waiver. And if they see the scars and they identify them as self-harm scars, then you're gonna get disqualified and you're gonna need a medical waiver, and you're definitely gonna have to follow my tips in this video here. Because under normal circumstances, you are disqualified and you have to request a medical waiver. I was disqualified for no psych test or ortho clearance. MEPS scheduled a doctor appointment and got the okay verbally, but still disqualified. Any reason they wouldn't schedule a psych test or doc wouldn't approve on paper? Sometimes you have to, it sounds like you have two issues. So sometimes they will require you to complete one issue first to see if it's even worth wasting time and funding to address the second issue. So they probably sent you to the orthopedic doctor, and that doctor may have said, oh yeah, it's within normal, blah, blah, blah. But they don't decide whether or not you're going to be approved. The MEPS CMO will determine one of three things. Either if you're all clear, continue to process, if otherwise eligible, or disqualified, no waiver authorized, or disqualified, but if your branch of service approves a medical waiver, then you can join. So you got to get through the ortho. So if the MEPS CMO feels like they have everything they need to make a determination whether you're qualified or unqualified, then they can go ahead and schedule you for your site consult. And then same thing with that. What we're looking for is either to get fully qualified, continue to process, or you're permanently disqualified, no waiver authorized, or to say that you're disqualified so that we can move forward with the waiver request. But we can't move forward with the process until they either determine you're qualified or unqualified, and if you can apply for a waiver or not. But good luck to you. Yeah, I'm not familiar with your case or your file to know anything specific, but watch my video and maybe you can identify what your deficiencies are. Well, this is the best time to try to get in. Like, beggars can't be choosers, so it's the best time to try to join right now. I'm not saying that it's going to get approved, but if there's ever a good time to join, as long as you're patient with the process and obtaining all the records that you need, now is the best time to do it. Tyler C. First unit tips. 25 Bravo at the brigade level as a PFC. So first impressions are lasting impressions. So always make sure that when you're going to meet your unit for the very first time, that at minimum you iron your uniform. I would prefer that you starch and iron your uniform, have the creases going down your shoulder, going down your arms, down the center of your pant leg, right? And clean or brand new boots, right? Look sharp, look clean, look professional. Use the appropriate like if they're an NCO, sergeant, if they're an officer, sir or ma'am, address them accordingly, and have all your paperwork, and yeah, just be a true professional and you should be fine. All right, do what you say that you're going to do more than you're paid for, and eventually you'll get paid for more than you do, if that makes sense. But yeah, just be a go-getter, be a reliable, dependable, be on time. On time meaning 15 minutes early. If you're on time, you're late. In the military, you show up at least 15 minutes early. That means you're on time. If you're showing up on the dot, you're late. All right. It's just a military thing. But yeah. And be willing to grow. Your glass is always half full. Always be ready and willing to learn. And don't be afraid to cross-train if you can, and volunteer for other things like becoming a SHARP representative, EO representative, FRG, things of that nature, right? But your unit will tell you more about that type of stuff. Josh says, if I wanted to transfer states for the National Guard, how does that work? Currently, Oklahoma probably won't, but in case I do make states, how does that work? That's easy. Within 30 to 45 days or less. The video is right here. And it's a lot easier now with this program. The Army merged all three components of the Army under one system called IPSA. So it's literally just pushing buttons, uploading documents, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So the moment you know that you're moving from one state to the next, immediately let your unit know so they can prepare your interstate transfer packet. The unit should know or will be able to get the information from the IST coordinator what needs to be uploaded into IPSA. And once everything is uploaded, the IC coordinator of your state will contact the gaining state to find you a place. So as long as you know generally where you're moving to, then they will find a unit in that location or within a reasonable travel distance to accommodate you and transfer you. And like I said, as long as people are not on leave, 30 to 45 days or less. It's a lot easier than it was like 10 years ago, for sure. And also 19 Delta in the Guard wanted to reclass to another MOS. Does that OSA would have to redo all the OSA to include basic training at T? So no, if you have to reclass, if it's an OSA MOS, then you might have to go through OSA again. But in my experience, you usually will go through an RTI, a regional training institute, and you will do most MOSs will have more than one phase. But like, for example, at some point I reclassed at that time a 21 Foxtrot, which was a crane operator. Now it's in the 12 series. But anyhow, for 2 months, part-time, 2 Saturdays and Sundays, 2 weekends, I did my combat engineer training. And then for 2 weeks in Camp Grafton, North Dakota, for the actual in-person crane operating schooling. And I was awarded the MOS at the end of those 2 weeks. It's a crash course, very simple. It's like 40 to 80 hours worth of work. And yeah, it's I was in there like swimwear. But yeah, so it was done for me. It was done in 2 phases. Phase 1 was the combat engineer training for 2 months part-time, and then 2 weeks for phase 2. But other more in-depth technical training may require several weeks for each phase until you are fully qualified for that MOS. And it's more, and if they can't find your 19 Delta within the area that you're moving to, then it will be on the table to reclass to a new MOS. Again, it's going to be based on the needs of the Army, but the more you know. What is the process of getting letters of recommendation, and who is allowed to write letters of recommendation? I'm not really sure what that's for. Is that for like a waiver or something? Not really sure. I'm not following. But at this point, you're going to need to direct message me on Instagram because I'm about to wrap things up. Dakota Benson says, if I chose an MOS that requires a security clearance and I end up being denied, would it be discharged or reclassed? You're going to get reclassed. You're not going to get discharged. If I got reclassed, and how much of a choice would I have in that new MOS? If you're otherwise qualified for it, and it's really up to the leadership, but primarily they have to have a slot and a school for it that happens soon, and the needs of the Army have to be there. So as long as those 3 things meet up, then you should be fine. But again, boils down to the needs of the Army. Very, very likely that you'll lose those things. But I don't remember what that was. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll lose. More than likely, you'll lose those other things. Bonuses, yes. Maybe not the specialty schools. But the bonus you would definitely lose because it's usually tied to the bonus. I mean, tied to the MOS, rather. But you got to read your bonus addendum. So if you want specific answers, go and refer to your bonus addendum. And that will tell you what the do's and don'ts and expectations are. Catherine says, I'm trying to enlist in the National Guard, but my recruiter is worried about my amount of dependents. As a single status, I have 3 kids of my own, and my fiance and I are guardianship of his brother's 4 kids. Whoa. So that's 8 dependents. Wow. Yeah. So like when you say guardianship, I'm going to be leaving soon, so you might have to direct message me on Instagram or shoot me an email at teamswartzmedia.com. But with that being said, yeah, so if they're true dependents, like they're financially dependent on you, then I can't see that waiver getting approved because that's way above whatever. But if you're just guardians and they're not living with you or financially dependent on you, then you could definitely get it for the 3 kids and being a single parent. But yeah, I would say direct message me on Instagram. We'll take it from there. I have some additional questions for you, but I'm running out of time here. But yeah. Izzy Reese says, can you join if you don't know family medical history because being adopted? Family medical history has nothing to do with your medical history. At least in my experience as a recruiter, it's never come up. Now, they may ask you later on in your career, like, what your family history is, but for MEPS medical, it's not part of the process. They just want to know what your medical history is. What rank would I be with a master's degree for mental health counselor, and would I get a bonus? You don't get a bonus just because you have a master's degree. Bonuses are tied to a lot of different things, but 50 better on the ASVAB, and it's usually MOS specific and how long you sign up your contract, if it's a true vacancy, and if the unit's at or below 100% strength, depending on the component of the Army you're going into. But with a 4-year degree or higher, the maximum rank that you can come in as is a specialist E4. Mig says, thanks. I had a rotator cuff surgery in high school from football injury. My psych should be fine, but never had the test. Passed everything else at MEPS. Been there 4 times. It was a long process. Well, you should be fine then. All right. So with that being said, shoot me a direct message on Instagram And I will address all your questions and concerns over there. This week is pretty much a wrap. I am pretty much all done. Again, my Instagram is at Team Swartz, right? My email address is teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Be good. Stay blessed. See you next week.